Are you real? Are you alternative? Are you something else? I'm Faith Popcorn, I'm something else. If I told you that an alien civilization sent you a message, and the message said, we're going to arrive in a couple of years, maybe as much as a decade, probably a couple of years, would you say, okay, call me when you get here? Or would you say, oh, okay, we'll leave the lights on? Or would you say, we better get together and get ready for this? And that's what I'm asking you to do today. Say, maybe we ought to get together and get ready for this. And that's the state of mind in which I'm hoping that you can receive. So a lot of people say, what the hell is a futurist? Do you have a crystal ball? Or you read palms? That's my favorite. I said, no, not exactly. We are really a Sherpa for change. We go into big companies and we tell them, they're going to outlaw, let's say it's an Ingenuity at Pepsi, they're going to outlaw sugar pretty soon, maybe 3 to 5 years. So she could have easily said, by the way, she's quite fat. She could have either said, no, that's not going to happen, or what do I do with all this Pepsi? Or she could say, I'm going to start a health-ish division. And that's what she did. And that's what's getting ready for the future. So hopefully that's what a futurist brings. It brings you a thought, if that happens, what do I do? If that happens, what do I do? What do I say? What do I tell my kids? Should I be building a bunker? Probably not, by the way, because you're not going to be able to get to it, but that's another story. That's for Q&A. So, if you knew everything about tomorrow, and that's what I'm hoping to share with you today, what would you do differently today? So we practice something called, and I'm hoping that like in this short time we have together, I can teach you. I hated school, and I hate that teach you lessons and stuff, but applied futurism is about taking a vision of the future and applying it. That's so very simple. Here's the future, how are you going to apply it? And that's what we bring. To be it, or to make it, or to prepare for it, you have to actually believe it. So I'm going to ask you to suspend dis and believe. So in 2005, we worked with Nike. They kind of called us in. I probably called them. Probably nobody calls me. I mean, actually, people haven't called me in about 100 years. I called them and I go, what about women, And they go, oh yeah, you're right. Oh my God, I forgot. And I heard a lot of reference here, and that's good because this is early. Women's sports, early. And the mistake that people make in this viewership thing is, and I know you're not making that mistake, well, how many women are going to be watching, blah, blah, but it's not only that, it's who else is going to be watching. I mean, men love, maybe not for the best reasons, to watch women's sports, So women's sports is going to be enormous. We said to them at Nike, where's the women's stuff, And they said, yeah, you're right. We'll just make some pink shoes, right? I go, wrong, no. And we prepared this for this female influx. How to occupy the yoga mat, how women will be running. Now think about this, 2005, this is 23 or 24 practically, And then they started to make stuff that was much more inclusive, sensitive to females, built for the female body, by the way. You may have noticed, I don't know, look down, we're built differently. So, we got them ready for it, and we created, and this is what gives me real happiness. Adam and I would talk about happiness. He's so happy, he's got this wonderful family and beautiful, wonderful wife and beautiful job and everything. What makes me happy is $8.6 billion contribution to the bottom line. That was I know that would make you happy too. So thrilling. Okay, and this is what happens when you advise, we were called, these people did call us, and they were really, really sorry. They said, could you tell us the future of film, Kodak? Beautiful, big, gorgeous building in Rochester, too cold, but New York. And we said, after we have a process, it's endless, but we come back and we go, hey, by the way, future of film is digital, and you have digital. Yay, it's in your medical department, they had digital. And they said, Madam, probably they didn't say madam, they probably said, hey, we asked you for the future of film. And we said, yeah, I know, yeah. Digital, that's the future of film. They said, no, future of film bankruptcy. So that's about the short view and not being, and it's very hard. Like if somebody rips apart your DNA, and companies have real live strands of DNA in them, you know, they're alive, and you say move these strings around, sometimes it hurts a little bit. And they could not take it. And I can't tell you how many companies that we work with, you know, they say, yeah, probably, but not now. The aliens are coming, but we're going to leave the lights on, and that's fine. And we'll say hello when they get there. Ha, ha, ha. How fast can we get this girl out of here? So I'm just asking you. I'm going to show you some weird stuff, but see what your brain says. If your brain says to you, suppose it happens, 2 pieces of IP, share with you, they're yours, you can have it. As a matter of fact, we're an open source consulting company. If you want me to explain it to you further, I can. The charge, this is my legacy. We have 17 directions for the future. There they are. If you take it like a neural net, we're going to talk about neural nets in a minute, and you lay it over whatever you're thinking, if it seems to vibe with it, so is it cocooning? Can people use it while they're staying home? Is it fantasy adventure? That's gaming, by the way. Look how accurate this thing was. Is it SOS, Save Our Society? We created this trend bank in 1970, probably 78, and we monitor it and morph it, but it did not change, which is pretty wild. I can't exactly explain that, so don't ask me to, but it continues and morphs and grows. And then, just in our reality check, is 10,000 futurists that are under our bank, loosely our club, and we ask them, their futurists on aging, their futurists on biotech, their futurists on best massage in the world, if you want to know where that is, anything. So we kind of say, what do you think about this? And they go, that's going to happen a lot sooner than you think. As a matter of fact, it's on the bench now. And then they show us what they're working on. So how do you think like a Faith Popcorn futurist, which is a particular kind of futurism? It's not about scenario planning and the usual PhD stuff. You hang out. You go to bars. You don't like one bar, go to another bar. I recommend bars. Go to bars, but this is what, you just don't go with anybody. Because then you're going to talk to who you go with. That's why I take Kathleen everywhere, because basically I know you won't believe this, but very shy, so I can talk to her. Anyway, you go to bars, talk to people, say, this is my best bar question. It's a good way if you want to meet somebody too, by the way. Are you happy? It's a good one. And then you don't have to say anything else. They will tell you forever about themselves. And then you remember it, and you try to think about it. What does this mean about prediction? You interrogate. This gets a little annoying. Like, is it? Poke it a little bit. Then you identify. You're looking for the little red string. I don't like to say dots connect, but I think of it as that little red string, you know, that kind of like you say, oh, people are, what I identified cocooning is quite simple. I realized people were taking a disco nap. This is a long time ago, with people like before they went out. They went out at 11, 12. We don't do that as much anymore. And they didn't wake up though. They were so tired. They went home for the weekend and didn't go out. But what the hell is going on here? Is everybody old? And no, it wasn't that. They were cocooning. And that's how I started to identify. So look for the things that you're seeing just in your life. Dot, 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 dot. Is anything holding together? If it's not, please don't throw it away and run it over. Put it over here. Leave it on the side, because you'll see a connection probably ultimately in the next whatever. And then tomorrowize. This is how we figure it out. You know how people go to the future? Well, this happened. And therefore this is going to happen. No, nobody ever figured out the future from the past. You figure out the future from the far future. You go 10 years out, 15 years out, what's going to happen, point in time, backcast, back right here to the present, and watch it, the timeline. Indicator, that's happening faster. Oh no, that's happening slower. Adjust, and that's how you get an accurate view of what's going to happen. So I'm going to show you 3 fast forces that I think bring some of these trends together, and so you can kind of start to see what is like not the PhD, but the more advanced way to do things. You cross cocooning, staying at home, with fantasy adventure. You get in-home gaming, right? So you start to cross these things, and then you get future forces, which are like a combination, a heat map of what's going to happen. So identity. So who the hell are you? And the vibe is you've never met anybody like me before. So we're looking for recognition of multifaceted, intersectional. That means something, a little bit of everything, selves. So you're going to see, like, the other day I was being interviewed by a frog. That kind of thing. People are morphing avatars into animals. So what is it? Recognition of subtle layers of who we are, how we show up in the world. Age, sex, gender, identity, race, abilities, and more. We have to recognize all facets of the human and realize that they just like swarm together and become you. And I'll tell you, if there's anybody HR here, well, everybody's HR, I hope. I mean, that's the whole thing, people, right? It's a nightmare. Because who are you talking to? I mean, when HR starts to call us, it's really scary. They're the last people that call anybody and ask for help. And they say, what? This was up at Unilever, call us up. What the hell is going on? How many bathrooms am I supposed to build here? And you know what the answer to that is? One. One? Yeah. Because he was ready to go. Men, women, in between, others, coming back and forth. Can others go into the other bathroom, whatever. One kind of bathroom for everybody. I mean, you can have a lot of ones, but just one. So between 21 and 22, these are facts, not factoids, but real facts. 21, 22, Gen Z identified as transgender. Jump. You know, regular transgender, we don't have, that's 5 people. Jump 48%. Okay. Identifying as non-binary, that means I don't know if I'm a boy, I don't know if I'm a girl, I'm something, I don't want to identify. 60% up. Nearly 4 out of 10 Americans are identifying with multicultural or ethnic. And marriage rates, boom, down. Birth rates, boom, down. Single households doubled. Single households, one person. Odd family formations. Not only multi-generational, but odd. I'm a friend, a cousin, maybe I sleep with this person now and then, but no, not really, and then maybe two sleeping with each other, whatever. Something different. So if you think you're gonna, I call it demographicize your audience, you're crazy. It's just too mixy, it's too multi. So, 65% age group up, are we paying attention to that? 1,000%. That's a big number. Just a few little things. The Crown Act, do you know about this? Legislation, and this is a friend of mine from Unilever who was head of beauty. Talk about this. She went forward to the government, to the federal government, and got legislation against people saying to people, you can't come in with that hair. Now you can't say that anymore. So that was pretty amazing. Men's cosmetics, boom, up. Autism at work, different and others at work, big, boom. So people want companies to take a stand and to be something. You know how companies is worried about it. You can get look at the Budweiser thing. And I was so sorry that happened to that young woman. She tried the wrong way, didn't ask enough people, but that was the right kind of try. They don't like it when you don't take a stand. They get very nervous. Now, have you noticed that the planet is rocking? Now, this is the truth. It's rocking. It's rocking off its axis, actually. Do you know that? It's like coming off its axis by 2 degrees right now. Just I don't want you to get too comfortable. Climate change, wild weather, toxic events. Real? So, wildfires. String this together. Microplastics. Forever chemicals. What about that? Change in the planet and also change in our DNA. Consumers are asking companies to be accountable. We just consulted with an enormous packaged goods company. And they go, this is not us. We don't have to do this. We're just going to keep making Tide, in those plastic bottles, but it's going to cost us 5 cents a pallet to be, And I think we were successful in convincing them that people look to companies before they look to the government. You have to be well behaved. A headline from the future. They're going to be like air filters dropped by drone delivery in various places. So, depression. You feeling a little blue? It's been up 25%, especially in younger people in the last 3 years. 75% of the fish, by the way, eat all the fish as soon as you can, because first of all, there would be no big fish, but contamination. Sustainable packaging demand up 81%. 75% of the world is thirsty. So that's happening. And this is a bunch of young people that sued the government because the government's not cleaning up the air fast enough. And a beer coming out with filtered water, clean water, recycled water. So in India, they have done pay to breathe. Wealthy people can breathe because they have breathing apparatus and air filtration. Poor people can't breathe. So breathing, asthma's up. Look at that. Remember I said like little dots and strings? Look at the strings. Look at the dots. Everybody's sick and snorting, not just my Japanese chins. My dogs cannot breathe at all. You have to hold them upside down. What are they looking for? They're looking for stadiums to be responsible. They're looking for fans to be, talked to and not drop so much crap around. And then this one is the one I really want to spend a little bit of time on. This is, in a way, the hardest one. Okay, beyond biology. You know how there's a thing going around, I don't know if you've seen it, you're good enough. Well, guess what? You're not good enough. You're going to be upgraded and uploaded, and your kids will too, and your grandkids especially, just to compete. So it looks like this. Technology provides, the good part maybe, limitless knowledge, blurring the lines between our digital and physical selves. Artificial intelligence, and I saw it was, talked about in the panel, that's excellent, that's going to be the next big. It's putting tiny sensors, tracking our biodata. We're worried about people knowing where we are. How about worrying about the biodata that is tracking? And you think you have privacy? Or I think it's a riot that doctors don't like to text because they're afraid, it's going to be recorded somewhere, they're going to get sued, everybody's, ridiculous. I mean, your biodata is being tracked. That's really scary. Cyborg cells are birthing the next generation of high potential humanity. So, headline from the future, 77% of the population will be 50% cyborg.
We are becoming cyborgs. Our brains are fundamentally changed. Everyone who grew up with electronics, we are fundamentally different from Homo sapiens. I call us Homo techno. I think we have evolved into Homo techno, which is essentially a new species. Previous technologies, may have even been more profound and moved us to a certain degree, but I think the computers are what make us Homo techno. I think this is it's a brain augmentation. So it allows for actual evolution. The computers accelerate the degree to which all the other technologies can also be accelerated.
So, global gene editing, you think that's nothing? $18.5 billion, up from $5 billion in 2020, less than 3 years ago. Monthly, 50 plus Americans are spending, look how much money, $93 million a month on stuff to upgrade. So look for the little, predictors of upgrading. By 2028, exoskeletons are booming. So people are using them in factories. You put this thing on, it makes you stronger. Soon it's going to be on the inside. By the way, everything you see on the outside, everything, is going to be on the inside. So that's what we mean by upgrading. And by 2025, humans and machines will split the work. 2025, this is 2023, okay? They're going to split the work 50-50. What is it now? 30-50. Machines do 30. It's going to be 50-50 and growing. So nanobots in your bloodstream eating stuff that's bad. Printing of organs happening right now. They printed it at a TED conference. Neuralink, this is Elon's thing. It's a thing in your brain, upgrading, your brain. And he's saying that it helps your spine. or, various diseases that can straighten you out from your brain. Then don't believe this. He is trying to read your mind. This is what's next. So the brain is the last bastion of privacy. Thank God nobody knows. Maybe I'm happy, I don't know what you're thinking, but we're going to. And I want to show you something that's really spooked me out. But I'm going to position her really nicely. Her name is Chloe. She's a friend. Before you go like, ew, she's like a cyborg. Think about this. You go home, and everything's cool, and this person, and she is quite gorgeous, comes to the door and goes, dry martini this evening, dirty Faith? Yes, up, very cold, the ice on the side. Yeah, you want that, or are you pretending you're on the wagon or what? No, I'll have a martini again. Dinner's in the oven, blah, blah, blah. That, clean everything, shop for that. That is your cyborg companion. You feel lonesome, you want some company to walk the dog, or maybe you just want her to walk the dog. She's good with that. She's good with everything. She doesn't need vacations. She doesn't need the lights on. So when you see the use in factories, as you're seeing it first, you're going to see a lot of home this. And look how charming she is.
For starters, what should I call you?
I'm Chloe. And you, what's your name?
Oh, John. My name is John.
Delighted to meet you, John.
Could you tell us a little about yourself and what you can do, Chloe?
Of course. I'm the first personal assistant built by CyberLife. I take care of most everyday tasks like cooking, housework, or managing your appointments, for example.
And I understand you're the first android to have passed the Turing test. Could you tell us a little more about that?
I really didn't do much, I just spoke with a few humans to see if they could tell the difference between me and a real person. But it was a really interesting experience.
But this is the first time in history that man has created a machine more intelligent than himself. I gather your brain can perform several billion operations per second, is that right?
Absolutely, but I only exist thanks to the intelligence of the humans who designed me. And they have something I could never have.
Really? And what's that?
A soul.
Don't believe her. She's just saying that to make we humans a little bit more comfortable. And by the way, Baidu, and China's not asleep here, they're calling them virtual humans. I mean, they look pretty human. And also, you know how they say they need us to fix them, right? They need us to repair them. They don't need us. They're already starting to repair each other, upgrade each other. They're starting to be sentient, have feelings, like getting insulted or hurt. It's not all programmed in, and that's the story that you are not hearing.
Social media influencer, museum guide, financial specialist. All real-world occupations of virtual humans created by tech giant Baidu.
So, cyborgs and modified humans or unmodified humans compete against each other. What's going to be like? So we're seeing a lot of, this gender thing when they, a transition person comes over and then gets on let's say the women's team, and he goes, she's stronger. What about cyborgs? I mean, that's the next thing. So we're already fighting wars. Look for the dots. Look for the dots. We're already fighting wars with cyborgs, okay? So you're going to see a lot of this. So here's some things just in case you're feeling too comfortable. Anybody comfortable? Good. No. Okay, good. So climate change and the new COVID prevents people from going to stadiums. We saw that once. And we see a new influx, and there are going to be new viruses. So what's the alternative? The government rules against sports that lead to brain damage. It's the sugar thing. The gender landscape morphs beyond the binary, and what's that going to look like? Viewing goes beyond the screen, so you watch your game in the air anywhere. You can take it anywhere and watch your game. Metaphor sports right now almost out-earning in real life. AI replaces the referee and makes better calls faster, and we never have to argue with that because that referee is always exactly right. And geopolitics makes it absolutely impossible to have international competitions, and we're seeing that now. So those are a few things that could, knock us off the axis. But I thought I'd give you, just before I take Q&A, I hope you have some questions, or maybe you just want to go out and throw up, I don't know. Before, I want to show you what a day in the life might look like. Some of it's not bad, I mean, it's kind of nice, and some of it's like, yeah, I don't know. So, Quinn, she's my friend, she's 37, she runs MedX, which is a thriving manufacturer of robo-doctors, and she has 2 partners. Everybody's gonna have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because you need that. We can call them avatars if you want to be more comfortable and not get like into like a head swirl about ethics and everything. So Josiah is human, and then Cypress is a artificial intelligent bot, and they're passionate supporters of her health and everything. They love her. So Quinn's beds vibrate in the morning, and she jumps up because she has a message from a lawyer bot. There are going to be lawyer bots already happening. This is happening now, the lawyer bots, about her cyber attack, and her smart bathroom knows this, and talk about connectivity, adjusting her morning shower for a beautiful spray of bioenergetics to help her. Nice. So she's a little tired because it's getting hot. Have you noticed how hot it's getting? It's getting very hot. Real estate tip, buy in cold places because they're going to get hot. So she mind messages, and already the CIA, FBI are playing with this. They're flying planes through mental, you want to say electricity already. AI is flying planes right now, no pilots. So, I mean, we're just getting used to maybe cars without somebody steering. Now we're going to have planes. So she takes a recharge break. She mind messages in order for a productivity infusion. So you just have to think it to be it. So we're not going to have to type it. We're just going to have to think it. So that's what it's going to be like. So this is what happens. 2 o'clock, she checks in with her AI bot partner, Cypress, to make sure their living space is all nice and clean and refreshed because they're having company. They're going to have some nice plant-based hors d'oeuvres because no more meat, and Cypress boosts their in-home air filtration. Air is going to be a big, big thing. And then, another security breach. Her avatar is visiting with ancestors and gets kind of deleted. So what happens when your avatar is picking up your kids and gets like deleted or goes blank or whatever? Some new kinds of concerns. So EMS shows up, and they were alerted too with mind messaging. I need an EMS. Boom, there you go. And Quinn's workout with Katie Ledecky, she's exhausted from this, so she retreats to reboot with her cell-building injectable. So we're going to be building cells back in a psychedelic soothing fog. So we're not going to have showers or rain, it's fog. And they're already doing fog drinks. Remember the dots. So when you see a fog drink, go, what else could a fog be? That's how you kind of like invent the next dot. 6:15, her happiness quotient slips. Remember I told you about depression? So we're measuring now mood modulation. It signals her therapy bot to arrange a visit with her grandfather, who's dead, but nobody's actually dead, because talk about the end of death. We're going to be uploaded starting now, uploading consciousness into the computer. So the good part, like for me, is I can still boss my kids around and go, you're spending too much money. The bad part is, for the kid, right? So she's with her grandfather, who always cheers her up because he's always so full of consolation, and she can actually communicate with him. I didn't bring this because I didn't want you to get too sad, but there's a whole video I can send you if you want about a Korean mother meeting her daughter who died in an AI situation and communicating with her. This is my big takeaway. You have to take away something. Take this away. It's much closer than you think. And I hope I've given you some, defenses against tomorrow, or some warning systems against tomorrow. So how are you going to change? How are you going to change tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Thursday? Yeah, start doing something different tonight and see it through tomorrow on Thursday. That's it.